Check 212, 212 guys. Welcome back. Today it's Sunday, the 19th of October. Welcome back. Make sure you're strapped in. You hit that like button. And we call this stream Ready for Next Leg Up for a reason. I'm going to talk today about the CRO token. I'm going to talk about Bitcoin. I'm going to talk about so many things that are potentially looking good, potentially looking very good. Very good. But of course, guys, nothing in this stream is financial advice, so make sure you always do your own research, your own due diligence. I wanna start with one thing though. I want to start with one thing today. I want to start by looking again at the CRO chart quickly. And I want to go to the weekly scale. So really zoom out all the way. Zoom out all the way so you know what we're all talking about. One sec. So this is, guys, the weekly chart. Get me up to speed here. Good morning, good afternoon. Welcome, guys. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I see someone from Alaska. Welcome, Luca. Hello from Italy. So here we go, the weekly chart. Somebody today commented to me on Twitter, Coin Baron, CRO disappoints me. And I only had one response. So disappointment, ladies and gentlemen, is a feeling. There is one thing that we don't do in this space. That's emotion. Disable all emotions. Just take a look at the facts. So, right? If we look at the facts, CRO is currently up about 3x from the lows. We had a low this cycle. It's about, it doesn't mention here, about 200%, right? You can also, though, say it's down minus 60% from the high this cycle so far. Those two things are facts. What we can't do is deal with any emotions like, hey, I'm feeling disappointed. I had different expectations. It's okay to have different expectations because you might think, well, typically, if you go back to the previous cycle, let me go back to the previous cycle. In October, in this week in October, 2021, we were trading at about 19 cents. Currently, CRO is trading at about 15 cents. So yeah, it's okay to see, hey, my expectations were a bit too high. But it's not about the feeling. It's about what you will do with the facts, right? Will you sell because you think it might be the bear market? You accept your expectations were wrong? Or do you think, well, I do believe my expectations are still right. However, the timeline might be wrong this time around. Or, in general, my expectations were too high. I don't care if you feel disappointed. I don't care if you feel happy. I don't care. Take a look at the facts. What's your plan? Make that exit strategy and be happy with it. And it is okay to also change it. If you feel like the facts have changed. If you think, well, for example, the 70 billion mint has changed the facts. You might see different tokenomics now. It's okay to exit or change your exit strategy. That's okay. It's fine, guys. You can change your mind. That's okay. But don't handle based on emotions because that does never work. And I keep seeing it. I keep seeing it again. And people said to me about Coin Baron, they betrayed us. They betrayed us with the 70 billion mint. That's okay to feel that. I mean, it's a bit of a betrayal. I'm not going to lie about that. I'm not going to beat about the bush. It's a betrayal. However, then vote with your freaking wallet. We went up to 40 cents. If you still feel like this is not the token for me, I think you've had the chance to pull out at this point. Don't come to me saying, well, Coin Baron, it's a big scam. Well, you're still in the scam. It's all up to you. Don't blame others. The only person, guys, the only person you can always blame is yourself. Don't blame me. I don't give you any financial advice. I'm just sharing what I'm seeing on the screen here. And what we are seeing on the screen is actually quite interesting. Earlier this year, I made a video called the four-wave cycle. Four-wave cycle theory. This was the first wave in 2021, or 2020 even. The second wave, third wave, and also the final fourth wave. So far, and we can maybe have a discussion. I think somebody came in today, mentioned the 5-wave cycle. think it's Elliott wave. You can maybe make the argument, well, this is wave 1, this is wave 2. I think this is still the same wave. I think this is together wave 1 because we didn't set a lower low. And I think that argument, well, you can make an argument about that, but still I do believe we're getting into a very similar flow. 1 wave, 2 wave, 3rd wave, and still a 4th wave. That's my belief. I can be wrong, of course. But that's one of the reasons why I'm still feeling bullish. Welcome, Johnny. Good to see you, sir. You love CRO. Again, you might love CRO, but please don't marry it. Don't marry your bags. Never. I like CRO. I like the fundamentals behind CRO. I like the tokenomics still behind CRO. I mean, the price versus where I think it should be and where it currently is. That's a crazy opportunity, but never marry your bags. Hey, Bjorn, good to see you. Guys, our new moderator in the chat is here again, making sure our chat is safe and secure. So, little applause here for Bjorn. So, what I also want to show, while we're just still getting started here, is that CRO is also following our 2021 overlay almost perfectly. Almost perfectly. It's so good, guys. It's honestly so good. So I told you guys, I think on Thursday, like worst case on Sunday, we might be just not moving much. But so far, it's exactly basically following this pattern. We fall down, go up, go down again. And now we're moving to the upside once more. History doesn't exactly repeat. But so far, it's looking quite similar. It's looking quite similar. And I know on Friday, people were feeling very sad again. Pro went to 13 cents. Ouch. But still, it's back up again. We're back up at 14.8 cents currently. So if it plays out anything like I do expect, we might see a boom tomorrow or on Tuesday. Maybe tomorrow, not that much. Maybe not that much. We still have some world events, like, for example, Israel attacking Hamas again. I don't know if that will really impact the exchanges again or the stock exchanges. Today, we do see, or not today, last Friday, we closed the S&P in the green again. It is so close still to a new all-time high for the stock market. We did have Crush buying the dip also at about, I guess, at about 13 cents. Nice. And also, we talked about this last Thursday as well. We talked about gold. And what did gold do since then? Well, it dropped. Of course, the commodity market is now closed. It's closed. But if you track, for example, the tokenized gold, you can see that gold is dropping. For example, we have PAX gold. It's dropping slowly. So I do expect, guys, that's my personal opinion, that we might see a further drop. However, one thing to take into consideration, you can maybe say that this is a Darth Maul candle here. A Darth Maul candle meaning we have a thick middle part and we have two lasers at both ends. This means indecision. This typically means indecision. So maybe the stock market opens up like, well, we can actually go higher. That can happen. That can happen. But there's also the argument that we have seen some crazy parabolic moves. I mean, gold was trading at about 3,400 and we saw a parabolic breakout. But I think we might be going down. And you might have seen this picture. I think it was quite funny. I shared it quickly also on our Discord. Don't forget to join our Discord, guys. Link is in the description down below. And it kind of showed, and the time scale is a bit off, but it did show here that when we had the top in 2020, you can see here, the top in 2020, it took not long after the top for gold for Bitcoin to move up. And here it does use, well, a bit of an overlay as well. I don't think this overlay is exactly right, but you can see at least that starting July of 2020, after the big high for gold, we saw risk assets like, for example, Bitcoin making more moves. And it makes sense, I think, also from a macro point of view. Soon, ladies and gentlemen, in about 2 more weeks, in about just 2 more weeks, we'll have the next Fed FOMC meeting. They're going to talk about rate cuts. Many things are closed in the US. Many things are still on shutdown mode. But the FOMC keeps going on. It's too important to be stopped for the government. So I do believe we might see an actual new rate cut. Can I bring you the money? Can I show you the actual evidence? I think I can. One sec, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Don't forget to strap in. We have some cool stuff today to talk about. We're going to talk about more CRO. We're going to talk about Bitcoin. And we still have a price prediction video, guys. Unfortunately, we did not hit 150 likes. Let's try it once more, guys. If we get 150 likes on this live stream, we'll release the price prediction video on Tuesday. I guess on Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. But then we will release it to the public. So make sure to actually hit that like button, strap in. I'm quickly looking for the FOMC numbers. CME. There we go. Yeah, boo. Audience not hitting the like button enough. True that, sir. True that. Welcome. Chris is saying, no financial advice, but buy every dip you can afford. We're still early. Global adoption means generational wealth, my friends. It's actually quite crazy, guys. One thing before we go back to the Fed here. Well, what gold did here, it added the complete Bitcoin, complete market cap of Bitcoin, I think, within a matter of days, or maybe even hours. Bitcoin currently has a market cap of 30 trillion US dollars. 30 trillion US dollars, ladies and gentlemen. Crazy, crazy stuff. Bitcoin just below 2, if I'm correct. Is that correct? Bitcoin, yeah, a bit more than 2, a bit more than 2. Bit more than 2. Let's talk about the Fed rate cut day. Welcome, John. Good to see you. Welcome, Malibu. Yeah, that's Ultra Justin with a new name. That's so confusing. Good to see you, man. What's up, Justin? So what we see here are the odds for the 29th of October. Target rate probabilities for the 29th of October. So far, and this can still change, but I don't think it will change. But it's currently at about 99%. Sometimes this will change after we get more statistical updates. We do have job market updates, inflation updates coming from the Bureau of Statistics. Shutdown, though, did also shut down the Bureau of Statistics. So we don't have job data, we don't have inflation data. So it will be very strange after the words by Jerome Powell in his latest speech about the economic outlook that we will not get a rate cut to 375 basis points. Current rate, by the way, guys, is about 400 basis points or 425. So we'll cut again with 25 basis points. That's the base case here. We might get a surprise, but I don't think it's very likely that we'll see a rate cut to an actual even lower, a 50 basis points rate cut. Very unlikely. Hey, Abdul, welcome. How low can CRO go if Bitcoin drops to 94K? That's a very specific number. Why 94K? Why 94K, Abdul? We talked about this on Twitter. I think it's actually a good thing to think about, at least. So I think there is a chance for Bitcoin to go to 97K. 97K because there's crazy volume at about 97K. And I can show you quickly my scenario there. We talked about this like weeks ago already, or like a week ago. Time flies in crypto. Time really flies in crypto. But this was the scenario we've been talking about. This would be the Max Payne scenario for crypto, specifically for Bitcoin and CRO. So what we see here, which is pretty close to your 94K, I might see a dip down as low as 97, because here we got the VRPV zone, 97k, and it would nicely correspond also with this megaphone pattern. So if we see max pain occur on Monday, like a Black Monday scenario, a typical Black Monday, then we might see it going back to 97k for Bitcoin specifically. In the text I mentioned, we have a few levels to watch, also based, for example, on order blocks. We got 14 cents, but we already went to 14 cents. So if we really go down to 97, I see 11 cents on the table. I hope it answers your question. If you really break down below 100, if you go below the 50-week simple moving average, well, that might be painful. That might be painful. According to Pete, gold looks like it had a bit of a local high. Fingers crossed we see money flow out of gold and into Bitcoin and the rest of crypto. I really hope more into altcoins than in Bitcoin. Altcoins have had a lot of pain. Altcoins truly had a lot of pain in the last few, well, let's say weeks. Hey, Sanjay, welcome. I have a big amount of dollars to add. More CRO. Can we hit 8 cents? I think it's very unlikely. I think it's very unlikely, Abdul. What we had, like, you had an opportunity to buy at 8 cents. That was last week during this big wick to the downside. That was, though, such an abnormal event. We talked about this in the video, saying it's really a black swan event. I don't know, guys, if it will go up. I do believe we'll have a repeat again of 2021 in many aspects. And I think also in price, we will see a new all-time high occur. Potentially still even in 2025. My current targets are about December. If you asked me a year ago, I would have said October, November. But currently I'm looking into December, really, for the high. But let's see. If you take a look for Bitcoin specifically, the typical 4-year cycle, we have now surpassed this. What I like very much, though, today, it's a special day, right? It's Sunday. It is the weekly close. And therefore, it has some indicate. I mean, it's a special day. And we bounce again exactly on this line. We've been talking about this line for Bitcoin specifically for quite some time. But if we close the week, we still have about 4 more hours left. If you close the week where we are as of right now for Bitcoin, we're bouncing nicely again above this line. Very bullish structure, still intact. And also, I need to show you what happened with the 50-week. The 50-week on some exchanges had a touch. The 50-week had a touch already in 2024 here. Also in 2025 here. And on some exchanges, it also went there in the last week. Not on every exchange, though. And I think it's typically a great indicator that we get a bounce at these levels. Bitcoin is looking overall still quite strong. Confused? No. I will not actually talk bearish about Bitcoin as long as we're above still the 100k level. Ayoli, welcome. Good to see you, sir. Today also we did see the total free, get back above $1 trillion US. We do need another retest here of this level so we can see altcoins break out. That's what we need. We've been waiting for that already way too long. We need that breakout above $1.15 trillion US for the total altcoin market. What's up, guys? Welcome. Kim Perry, good to see you. Waiting for your prediction video on Tuesday or Wednesday. If we get 150 likes, we got very close last time, 123. So if we get 150 likes on this video, we'll release it next week. Trends is saying, well, unlikely doesn't mean, of course, never. No. What we base our predictions on here on the channel is typically history and patterns that occur often. But sometimes patterns don't play out necessarily, right? Like, for example, here, it is not perfect, right? What we see in the overlay, the fractal here, it's not exactly perfect, but it does kind of give you an overall idea. We didn't expect, for example, this here. We didn't expect the Trump pump. And in hindsight, I think we can learn a lesson or two from this. I think we can, because the fundamentals, like the SEC did not yet actually approve the Trump Media CRO treasury company. There is no treasury company yet for CRO. There have not been additional buys from Trump Media after the new Trump Media CRO treasury company. The only new thing that I think has been done now is the deal. So Crypto.com and Trump Media, they are now working together to reward people on Truth Social with the CRO token. That's new. That's truly new, and also I think a great step forward for Trump Media and also for potential adoption of the CRO token there. However, Truth Social is truly very small, and also this feature is only available for paying members, the patriots on the Truth Social platform. But that is now live. It's the only fundamental change that we now have really from the Trump Media partnership so far for CRO. And also we do have Crypto.com and Trump Media doing a deal. Trump Media bought CRO at 15.3 cents. They bought about $200 million worth of CRO. And currently Trump Media is at a loss. Trump Media is at a loss. Didn't expect that. One potential negative thing about next week, what that might go wrong next Monday, is that we are creating a new CME gap. We are creating a new CME gap, meaning that we closed on Friday at about 106. 106. And we will open next week at, let's say 110-ish. We will open about here. So there will be a new gap created about, no. The gap will be about here. Like, this is the gap. We might want to revisit 106 on Monday, but it doesn't always occur. And I think at this exact point now, we won't get a revisit of 106. Especially if you take a look at the overlay. If you take a look also at the oversoldness of the CRO token. If you guys don't use this, I would say get an account at TradingView. TradingView is what we use here to get all these charts on the screen. And an easy indicator to base some trading decision on is the relative strength index. And I would say especially for buy indicators, it is very good. It is very, very good. You can see, right, that we recently touched, very shortly, where we did touch the oversold area. We did so as well in June. And we did so as well in March. Let's say you only buy the dip when it goes into these areas. How would you be now? How well would you be off? Well, let's take a quick look. If you bought at the oversold level, let's say the first time it went oversold, you bought at about 8 cents for the first time in Feb. And it went a bit lower, went all the way down to 7 cents, but I would say 8 cents in the overall scene still looks quite good. So you bought at about 8 cents. Then it went down into oversoldness again at about 8 cents. And now again, we are into the oversold area. You would have bought at about 15 or 14 cents. I would say that's quite okay. Because so far, every time we went into the oversold territory on the RSI, after we really went above it once more, you can see it went up. Well, it went down first here. So yes, we can go deeper into the oversold, but here, I think is a better example. We went straight up again. We went straight up again. So maybe we are now going to bounce here because the CRO token is officially well, it's no longer officially oversold, but we were oversold for quite some time. Another example, well, here we also went oversold a few times. And here you can see the first time we went oversold. Right here. Went up a little bit. But in the overall picture, guys, after truly leaving the oversold territory, we also went into a new high. So oversoldness is not the best indicator, but sometimes, well, it can give you a bit of a hint. It can give you a bit of a hint. You think 11 cent is more likely? I don't think so. I think those are scenarios, Abdul. I think we are looking at potential scenarios. Like we talked in many videos about Bitcoin going back to the 50-week. I think you can make the argument now that Bitcoin has touched the 50-week. Went to give or take 102 on certain exchanges. It also doesn't have to necessarily touch the 50-week. You can also see here, it went very close. Many analysts and many experts say, well, this is close enough. We can say this is a good bounce on the 50-week. Zoom out. And basically, it's a touch on the 50-week, right? You don't necessarily have to truly touch it as long as you are getting support at about the 50-week. That's good enough. So I think you can say we touched now the 50-week. And we can go one leg higher. Will we ever go back to 11 cents? Well, we might. In a true bear market. In a true bear market, we might go back all the way there. So my expectation is that we will find support once more after a run up in the green zone. And currently the green zone is, let's say we're going to top out in December. January. Starting then, the green zone is already at 11 cents. So the green zone is also moving up logarithmically. So if we do anything like this, of course, pure speculation, right? But if we do anything like this, I think we will top or bottom out in the bear market over here. At about 15 to, I think 15 cents where we are now is a great bear bottom. Let's see though. Flying B is saying, well, I'm still wondering why Chris mentioned March 2026. I don't think it's truly about the exact month, Flying B. It's more like, hey, if you will look back in March, I think you will be happy, right? Like something happened in those months. I need to listen back to the AMA. I think the AMA is no longer available online on YouTube. So I need to look back into the actual recordings I have on YouTube still. I think his exact words were we're going to top out late 2025 or beginning of 2026. I need to check that one. So Pete is asking, now we have gone beyond your time prediction for the end of the bull cycle on a 4-year basis. Are you thinking to expand your viewpoint that we are seeing a lengthening cycle? Yes and no. I don't think we will see a true 5-year cycle. That's, I think, still beyond my scope. And of course, guys, we can disagree on that point, but I do still agree that we're going to top out somewhere in Q4. Like the... I don't think I've got a good overlay for this one. Maybe I do. Let me go to Bitcoin quickly. And this is not the... Yeah, I think we can use this one. So this is the Bitcoin seasonality chart. And you can see that sometimes we top out in November. So here we got a top in November in 2021. I need to actually add some more cycles. This is annoying. Here in I don't know, is this 2016? Oh, this is 2013. In 2013 we had a top in December. In 2017 we had a top also in December. For Bitcoin specifically, right? Yeah, it's hard to really see, but typically Q4 is in general very good. I was thinking though, based on the halving. So all my cycles are based on the halving. What we see here on this chart, oh, no, it's not this one. This is all based on the halving. You can also make the argument, well, don't take a look at the halving, take a look at the peak to peak, or bottom to high, or bottom to bottom. They're all pointing to give or take that 4-year cycle. I don't know. I don't know if we will see a true change. I don't think so. I think we'll top out somewhere in Q4. Doesn't necessarily need to be exactly 4 years. 4 years and a month, or 3 years and 11 months. Why I don't think, though, that CRO has peaked. Why I don't think that CRO has peaked at 40 cents. Some people say, well, the bear market has started. Typically, altcoins peak after Bitcoin. After Bitcoin. So Bitcoin went to an all-time high. 126. 126 for Bitcoin. I want to use a different chart. Normally, after we hit an all-time high, we also will see an all-time high for Ethereum. Ethereum now is almost at $4,000, by the way. Almost at $4,000 here. It's also holding nicely to this line. But Ethereum is still holding above $4,000, but it hasn't created a new all-time high since Bitcoin created an all-time high. So far, every cycle, what we have seen is that first, Bitcoin creates an all-time high, and then altcoins create an all-time high. That's also why in this specific chart, we do see that CRO all-time high comes after the Bitcoin all-time high. Not before. This high was before. But will this be the cycle high? I don't think so. I don't think that this will be the cycle high. Philip is asking, do you agree we have about 50 more days in this bull run cycle? Well, Q4, right? Yeah, that's 2 months and 10 days. Yeah. Give or take 50. I think 50 is a nice amount. Welcome, by the way, Philip. Hey, Mr. Capri, welcome. I have a lot of CRO. Let's keep it like that. A simple wick down on Monday will close the gap in the CME. That's a possibility, but it doesn't necessarily have to play out, of course. Hey, Fitting Crypto, good to see you, sir. Welcome, welcome, welcome. LS looking also for fractal from July to December. I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. I got the same here. We've been truly, guys, on sync really with the cycle so far. Not like month to month. Like October, we're running a bit behind on the previous cycle. Previous cycle top was in November. But maybe this will be more like December 2017. I still vividly remember. I want to open a poll quickly. I want to open a poll if you guys were active in 2017, because it was honestly so crazy in 2017. And also at the beginning of 2018, it was fun. Everything was booming. Everything was going to new highs. No one was crying. And now we see crying, I would say, in the casino. Where you here in 2017? That's the poll. Guys, please don't forget to fill the poll. Simple question, where you here in 2017? Yes or no? I'm just curious what you guys are, how old you guys are. How experienced. So far, we've got 13 votes saying about 80% no. Guys, by the way, don't forget to hit that like button. We got more than 70 viewers. Just 48 likes. Somebody is too lazy to press that thumbs up button. 150 likes and we'll do the how's it called again? Do the prediction video live on Tuesday or Wednesday. I remember in 2017 or 2021, things were going crazy in everything regarding crypto. Not so much this time around. Not yet, right? Not yet. I think yet is the magic word. if we were at 7 cents in a bull market, how would it only go down to 11 cents in a bear market? Well, I think, Blake, it's all about manipulation here. Like, this is not the true bull market part, right? Like, we were at 7 cents for 5 minutes. Not even 5. 1 minute. You cannot truly say that that was our bottom. No, our true bottom that day was about, like, what was it? 13 cents? 14 cents also. So this is all a scam, Blake. You can't count this in my opinion. Chris said, well, hold him accountable in March 2026. Well, if I'm not gonna blame Chris if he went to $2.21, $2.12, $2.71 in December. I'm not gonna complain to him in March like, hey, you didn't fulfill your promise. Typically also, I want to go back to the different CRO chart. Like, if it's gonna play out like the last cycle, you go to a high, you go to a new all-time high, and still for a long time, you're trading at those elevated levels. You're still trading. If it's going to copy like 2021, in April or March, we're still going to trade at like at least 50 cents. If we're going to follow anything like 2021. It's quite a long period where you could potentially exit. Chris was talking about top 5 in March. He was talking about the how's it called? The chain, not necessarily the token. But maybe he meant token. I do like, though, guys, that so far, since we have been starting the stream, CRO is up 3% today. And we're getting close to 15 cents, almost there. Like 50 cents on the minute. Let me go to the 5-minute chart. How does it look like? It's looking quite good. We started a stream, of course, guys, and it's pump only mode. Yes. Marcus is talking about Elliott wave and analytics. We might actually bounce to 117. And after that, we might go down to 93 before we get that last all-time high push. I don't know. I truly don't know. That would be truly brutal. The one thing I like about this theory is that it will also fill that final CME gap at about 116. You can see this CME gap here is about 116. So it would actually shake everyone out. But I kind of think, at this point, I kind of think that the majority that really wanted to sell is already out. I think we have reached that point that people are disappointed. People are, not believing it. People think it's a bear market. So I think at this point already, like, we don't necessarily need one more final shakeout. Chris is talking about the burn format. For anyone not knowing what Chris is talking about, the EMA we did with the leadership with Mirko Zhao of Cronos Lab, so the guardians of the CRO token, they did confirm that we will get a burn formula based on price and block size. Price and block size. How it will work basically is the higher the price and the higher, I don't know exactly, but the more we use the chain, typically the more burns we'll see on the network. If the price is high, they might buy back less tokens. But if the price is low, they can actually buy more tokens to burn back even more. How it will work exactly, it's still being debated. But it has been confirmed by the leadership. They're still working on the formula. They haven't forgotten about it. So any day, in theory, any day, we could get an announcement like, hey, ta-da! The only question that I do have is how will the response be to that? Because we also had an out of nowhere mint event of 17 billion. So are people going to be like, hey, we've seen this before. we don't trust this? Or will it be like, okay, we understand it's new times. This time around, we have actually a programmable hard cap. So if we ever are going to mint more than 100 billion tokens, the whole CRO chain will stop working. Cronos POS will stop working altogether. That's a recent update that will come to Cronos POS. So by factor, we now will have a hard limit on the CRO token. So no additional CRO minting to that hard limit of 100 million CRO tokens. Johnny's talking about a lot of negatives this year. Market is just being milked like a mad cow. The thing is that Bitcoin is feeling okay. Like, it doesn't feel like it's all too bad, right? All things considered. Bitcoin is holding on. It's mainly the altcoins that for some reason, it might be that risk on environment. So the reason why gold, or risk of environment, I mean, the reason that gold is surging so much is because people don't know where to park their money. They think everything is, the S&P is already, a bit too high. We have worldwide events happening. Gold is a relative flight to safety for many. And people say, well, Bitcoin is digital gold, right? But no, Bitcoin is still a very risky asset. Hey, Sharp, welcome. Good to see you, sir. Guys, don't forget to strap in, hit the like button, of course. Sharp is saying that CRO will still hit $10. It might hit $1 before December, but then $10 before June. It will be the biggest exchange because Binance is going to get screwed into manipulation. I did hear that France is going to look into Binance for potential money laundering. I don't hope that Binance will get hit too hard, because I'm gonna be honest, guys. If Binance will be hit, there will be an FTX event times 10. Times 10. In that case, I think CRO might go down to 1 cent. Jorge, thank you so much, dude. Jorge. Ow, ow, ow. That was a nipple strap. Aye. Thank you so much, Jorge. $20 super chat. That's absolutely amazing, sir. Any question? I'm always happy to answer. Ouch. We have hit the poll. Don't forget to hit the like button. What about the poll? The poll is saying how many people? So according to the poll, we got 42 votes in so far. 86% did not experience the 2017 bull market. Well, guys, I'm here to tell you, it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. You could literally throw a dart on any stock, any crypto, or not stocks, less, any crypto, and it would fly up. We had the most crazy tokens. The good thing specifically about 2017 is that back then, you kind of needed a technical background to launch a token or a project. And there were many ICOs. So it was looking like, hey, well, I'm going to invest into an actual project, or, there's potential there. It ended up being total scams. Most altcoins went down 99%. But back then, you needed some technical knowledge to create a token. These days, you press a button and a token is created on the blockchain. So it's so much more easy to scam people. Like the whole vibe is different due to Pump Fun and other launch pads. So it's a bit of a different vibe. But I still think that top tokens, I do believe, like the top 50 of tokens typically, the more mature tokens will see a big hype going forward. Let's see though. Bjorn is saying, I do think that the unburn might be forgotten quite quickly. I don't know. I think it will kind of forever be like a lingering issue with Cronos regarding trust. But we'll see. If I think back about the MCO days, so for anyone that doesn't know, in 2018, The predecessor of CRO was called MCO, based off the Monaco company. That was the name before they bought the Crypto.com naming rights, the Crypto.com domain. And that MCO swap left a bad taste into many investors' mouth. However, it wasn't all that bad. It was like people felt screwed, but I think the conversion rate was somewhat okay. Personal opinion, but well, people felt screwed, and still to this day, people are bringing up the MCO swap as one of the bad things about CRO. That was back in 2018, or it was 2019. It was 2019. 6 years ago at this point. 6 years ago. So you don't think they will forget? But the majority doesn't talk about it anymore. So I think, like, Bjorn is both right as well as wrong. What do you think about the ZK Sync upgrade the end of October? The Atlas upgrade will be absolutely huge. I think the potential for ZK and the super, how do you say that? The elastic chains. It's great. And I don't know though if it will be like super big, or like price specifically. Bitcoin is about 109, guys. It might, according to Pete at least, we might get one final wick down to fill the gap at about 106. I don't know. We might have a bit of a Monday dip. Sometimes we get a Monday dip. But then the Americans wake up. And no, they press the buy button. Happens actually quite often. So the minute it's 9 o'clock in the morning, the S&P opens up. We see a green S&P. Sometimes we also see quite a good pump for Bitcoin. You're the crew market maker? How do you mean? Oh, regarding the pump, yeah. So Philip is actually a Dogecoin person. Dogecoin. I hold a bit, but more like I mined a bit in the past. I mined it to get up at Litecoin. Back then, in those days, you could actually still mine Litecoin, Dogecoin with your CPU. So the processing unit on your PC. Flying B wants to see more green on the CRO chart. It depends if you zoom in, if you zoom out. I think we do see quite a bit of green, right? It's a good mix of green and red. It's a good mix. I think, guys, this is like I would find it pretty strange if we won't follow the overall cycle of 2021. I think it's the perfect blueprint for this cycle, for December to be a great month. I think this will be a great Christmas gift. Hitting crypto price prediction video release yet? No, guys, we didn't hit 150 likes on the previous live stream, so I'm kind enough to give you guys another try. 150 likes on this video and this live stream will get that price prediction video. Hey Jason, welcome. What's a good weekly close for Bitcoin? I think where we are now, sir, it's honestly great. We talked about this line, so we're gonna close like here, like in June. June was quite a big dip, right? June was a good dip. We had a good rally. Had a good rally up, then we had a dip. What we held on this growth line. This growth line is old, very old. And we're holding on so far at about 109. So if we can hold here for the next 4 hours, that will be, in my book at least, quite bullish. At least in my book. I want more DEXs on ZK Cronos. I don't think you will get it though, Mr. Johnny. Johnny Joe. So the issue for anyone who doesn't wonder what's ZK Cronos. There are 3 Cronos chains. We got 3 Cronos chains. We got Cronos POS, Cronos Proof of Stake. We got Cronos EVM, Cronos Ethereum Virtual Machine, and we got Cronos ZK EVM, Zero Knowledge Ethereum Virtual Machine. And the last two, EVM and ZK EVM, as you might well hear in the name, are working on the same technology. Cronos POS is completely different. It works based on the Cosmos SDK. Cosmos was one of the first multi-chain SDK, so technical layers really, to make a multi-chain future. Cosmos is still around, but on the Binance Spot Exchange, it went to 1 cent with the recent crash. So Cosmos is still fine. The technological layer had some delay. It's not the latest and greatest anymore, some people say. Some people say ZK Sync is the future. So that's also why Cronos joined in on the ZK Sync layer. And according to Vitalik, the inventor, the founder really of Ethereum, Zero Knowledge, ZK proof is what's going to be the future. So there you have it, guys. I think also Cronos is joining the right layer 2 project. However, it's not the main focus. It is just simply, guys, not worth trying to build on 3 separate chains. You mentioned before about the lack of liquidity on the ZK chain. Do you think they will upgrade? The upgrade will boost that. No. I think, guys, the ZK chain won't get any significant upgrades in the upcoming days. Maybe in 5 years, right? I think the next cycle might be all about ZK. That's the thing, guys. Sometimes we have a narrative. It's actually quite an interesting topic. So I don't know if anyone knows that of me. In 2018, I did my university dissertation about smart contracts. And back then, I was talking about the potential of trackability of, for example, virtual houses. Virtual houses. I said that back in 2018. That's give or take 7 years ago, right? 7 years ago. Now, in 2025 and also 2024, we're actually talking about virtual houses. But not in my words. No. We're talking about RWA, real world assets. We're talking about tokenized real estate. So sometimes we see things coming, but it will get a different name. So for example, we got the NFT invention. NFTs were already a thing back in 2017. You might have heard about the digital, I forgot the name. I think the Eve Kitties or Eve Pussies. That sounds wrong. Let's not clip that. The Eve Kittens, let's say. I think it's that's the one. That was already invented back in 2018 or 2020, but it really became a thing in 2021. And it might be the case that ZK is going to be the narrative, like AI and RWA are the narrative now in 2024, 2025. So it might be the next narrative. Sometimes you don't know. So you try things, and if it fails, it fails. And if it wins, it wins. Let's see, though. Bitcoin is holding on quite nicely. CRO is doing okay. Almost back at 15 cents. I think, though, in the overall picture, right? Like, this weekend was boring. Not that much happened. I truly just want to see Ethereum back above 4,000 again. It went very close today. It actually went above 4,000 for a minute. Nice. Nice. But we're down below 4,000 once more. The thing, guys, that you should be watching. So we got Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the lead. Is in the lead now. After Bitcoin, though, you should watch Ethereum. Ethereum, if it goes above 5,000, it's going to be so freaking bullish. At least in my personal view, right? Then we also got Bitcoin dominance. Let's talk about Bitcoin dominance for a second as well, because it is tottering between green and red. So all expectation kind of was that we might go up a bit more. We're getting very close now to 60 cents or 60% for Bitcoin dominance once more. 60% is not necessarily like the level I was watching. I was watching 60.4 because it has been all previous resistance, but also support. So if anything, I'm mainly watching this level here at about 60.4. So we might go a bit higher, right? We might even have one final big pump for Bitcoin. We might close the week for Bitcoin dominance at about 60.4, about 1% higher than where we are now. So the scenario will be Bitcoin makes a new all-time high and Ethereum lags behind a little bit. But then Ethereum takes over. Then it really becomes altcoin time, and then we might see continuation to the downside for altcoins like what we have seen in 2021 and also 2017 here. That's my base case. I don't know if it will happen. I don't know if it will exactly be like this. Am I converting my CRO to Bitcoin? Not at this point. I think where we are now, I think this is also something we should be talking about more. We're nicely holding on here. We're nicely holding on to the previous all-time low for CRO Bitcoin. This line here. It's fortunate that we couldn't hold this line, but I think now this purple line is also a good one to watch in the upcoming days. If we can hold this and if we can actually break back to this white line, CRO Bitcoin is in good hands, if you ask me. But we will talk in more detail, guys, about CRO Bitcoin in the upcoming time to buy video. I don't have a plan yet for next week. I will have some issues with the house. I will have some people coming by to help me with some installations, so some mechanics. So the schedule for next week videos are still a bit iffy. There should be a time to buy a video though coming out next week. Well, we're going to talk more in detail about the RSI. We're going to talk more in detail about Bitcoin dominance, more in detail about CRO Bitcoin, talking more about altcoin season, because we had a very short altcoin season. We're not yet into an altcoin year. So I think that video will be quite interesting. And yeah, if you guys are hitting the like button, like Kim is saying, then we might also have the price prediction video. I mean, I'm not asking the impossible, right? 150 likes, that's not like that much. How many do we have now? 59. 69, nice. Thank you so much for all the 87 beautiful people here strapped in today. 70 likes, nice. It's going hard now. What are you talking about? TRX? That Tron? Thank you, James. Welcome. I guess it's James. If it's not James, please let me know. Otherwise, I will keep butchering your name every time because it looks like James. It isn't, I guess, though. Will we recapture 15 cents while you're still streaming? I don't think so, guys. What I like, though, is that not that many people, I'm watching the poll now, we've got 64 votes saying that were you here in 2017? We've got 80% that weren't here in 2017. And some people, I'm not saying it myself, but there are some analysts saying that what we've experienced in 2021 was a boring altcoin season. It was a boring altcoin season. Don't know if I agree, but there's some analysts say they expect more like a 2017 altcoin season. Quick sharp drop, but also because the market cap of Bitcoin is so much higher. We're talking about a lot of literal $1 trillion that that might be added to the altcoin market. We might, guys, double. We might double the total market cap for altcoins. So that does mean then that we will see a crazy run in absolute volume, right? If you want to see a bullish chart, check out TRX Bitcoin on the weekly. It's making a perfect ascending triangle. It's TRX. I don't know what TRX is. I just hope I don't open a random altcoin now. What is this even? Is that a BitGet token? What is this token? I don't know this token, so. TRX is Tron, okay. I don't really like Justin Sun myself, so I'm not really going to bother with the Tron token, unfortunately. Sorry. Ah, just Smate. Okay. Smate is fine. Just looking at charts. I'm looking also at the fundamental. So let's not forget that one. Guys, we're going to close the week at about 109. 109 for Bitcoin, about almost 15 cents for CRO. I am still of the opinion that we will see it higher high. I don't think that 40 cents will be it, but I might be proven wrong. The Mr. A-Ball, though, does agree with me. I hope you also agree with me, though. Let's see, though. Don't forget to, guys, strap in for more videos. Don't forget to also hit the like button. Next week, new videos, more charts, more news, and more surprises to come, most likely. Guys, don't forget to strap in, hit the like, and I will see you next Monday. New video. Oh, by the way, also thank you so much again, Jorge, for the super chat. Strap again one more time for Jorge, guys. Thank you so much, dude. $20. Crazy, crazy. Teddy, thank you so much as well. Björn, cheers, cheers, cheers. Hit the bell, yes.